Is a travel tripod just as good as a full-size tripod? Do you really need that larger, more expensive tripod? Well, we're going to answer this question once and for all. And with the tools I'm using for the test, the results are going to be absolutely undeniable. Let's get to it. Before we get started, I think it's important to note that I haven't tested anything yet. My hypothesis is that the difference between a travel tripod and a much larger heavy-duty tripod is going to be significant. The other day I was out shooting in the field and I had my Pentax 6.7 here in my Gitzo travel tripod, and I forgot to lock up the mirror. I get the sharpest images when I lock up the mirror, and I use a cable release with that. However, with the mirror down, I fired the shutter and I could feel the vibration. What's more, I could see it. A little while back I made a video about tripod center columns versus without center columns, which involved using a gyroscope to test and compare the tripod vibration while using a typical DSLR. Today, we're going to take this test to a whole new level. We're going to use the Pentax 6.7, a camera with one of the largest, heaviest, and most impactful shutter and mirror combinations of any camera in the world. Combined with two of the best built tripods available on the market, we're going to compare the vibrations in each tripod under realistic conditions and decide if the larger tripod makes any difference. Truly, is a huge heavy tripod worth the extra cost and the extra effort to carry it around? Let's find out. Okay, with the 6.7 on my Gitzo Series 2 travel tripod, we're going to perform a series of tests. First, we're going to use an attached gyroscope. So I'm going to put this on the camera and we're going to get to it. So just like in my last video, I'm using the Wit Motion gyroscope to really check the vibrations, and I've linked it to my phone. Okay, so with no vibration, you can see I have a steady line there, no indications of vibrations whatsoever. But when I tap on that camera, you're going to notice it then. See what I mean? Now for all these tests, I'll be using the travel tripod with the center column down. In a previous video, I compared the vibration in the center column up versus the center column completely removed. And so if you're in the market for a travel tripod, you may want to check out the other video I made, which is linked below. Anyway, I don't think the travel tripod with the center column up would stand a chance against a larger Gitzo like this one. So we're going to have the center column down. I'm using the attached Pentax 6.7 55-100 f4.5 lens with the attached hood. Now this is my normal setup in the field. On that note, I recommend using a lens hood at all times, not only because it reduces flares, but also because it protects the lens. You may want to check out my video on why, how, and when to use a lens hood. Anyway, the link will be down below. So let's get the wind moving and get this test started. Now I'm going to drop a 15-pound weight from 3 feet at the center of the tripod. Okay, now we're going to do a shutter vibration with the mirror up. I'd love to test the raising of this massive mirror by itself, but there's no way to really raise the mirror ahead of the shutter without putting my hands on the camera, causing excessive vibration. There's just no way to objectively record putting one's hands on the camera, pushing the shutter release button for a fair comparison of the two tripods. So we're going to record this in two ways. One, we're going to raise the mirror and then fire the shutter with the cable release at 1/125th of a second. And then we're going to basically leave the mirror down and fire the shutter again. And then we'll record the results. Okay, let's switch out tripods and repeat the tests. All right, the results are in, and my hypothesis was that the heavier duty tripod would outperform the travel tripod, and probably to no one's surprise, that's absolutely correct. But how much of a difference? That's the question. So on the first test, the wind speed, the difference was 0.2 degrees per second. Now that may not seem like a lot, but truly if you're trying to get the sharpest image possible, you know, just something to consider. The second test was the impact. So I dropped the 15-pound weight from 30 inches on each tripod, and the difference was 0.1. Now, 0.1 degrees per second, again, might not seem like much, but you know, this is a controlled test out in the field with wind and maybe not the most stable surface, and I have rock claw feet on these tripods on concrete, so you know, it's kind of a realistic scenario where you got your feet on rocks. But 0.1, it's something to think about. The third test was the shutter vibration with the mirror up. Now, the difference was 0.3 degrees per second. I think that's pretty significant. So the fourth test was firing the shutter with the mirror down, and this is really where it comes into play. The difference was 0.4. So 0.4 degrees per second, that's pretty significant difference. Now this is the Pentax 6.7, and like I'd mentioned, you know, it's got a pretty good size mirror and pretty good size shutter. So if there's gonna be a camera that's gonna make some noise, it's gonna be this one. And we're certainly seeing that in the vibration monitor. So anyway, just something to think about. Now this is something you could take away, and you can watch my other video on, and I was using a D850 to make that video on a travel tripod. But I think that both the videos together, I think this should give you an idea of what tripod is best for you. Anyway, at least that's my goal, is hopefully leave you with a thought of which tripod might be best for your situation. And again, there's a lot of considerations. You know, how far are you taking this tripod? I will often use my travel tripod just because I don't want to carry my larger Gitzo. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I also hope that it helps you make your next tripod choice an easy one. Don't forget to check out the videos I mentioned. The links are in the description below. I hope to see you on the trail.